Hey guys, we're going to do an overview video here on a 2001 Honda Accord. This is a V6 model. I think they're the same across all the trim models and all that stuff, but I just wanted to show you some of the things you're going to have to take off in order to get to this point. So this, if you'll notice, the tank is inside of the subframe. So normally on a car, most cars just have fuel tank straps that you can undo and lower the tank down. But in this case, you got to drop the whole subframe.
This is a pretty hard video or job to do without a lift, right?
Yeah, you're going to have a little bit of trouble doing it without the lift. Not impossible, but much easier with obviously with the lift.
You'll have to be jacking up the rear end.
Yeah, you'll have to lift the back end of the car up and pull everything out, and it's going to kind of suck. But it's really not that bad because there's just not a lot of things to have to take apart. So first thing that you'll want to do is take the wheels off. Second thing you're going to want to do is take this plastic cover off that covers all the fuel filler and evap components. There's 3 lines. So once you get the plastic cover off, you're going to find that there's going to be a clamp on here. This is where the fuel comes in. And then you've got 2 other smaller clamps that just have spring-loaded clamps, or 2 other lines with spring-loaded clamps. So you can just basically pre-pry those hoses off so they're just sitting there. Once you get to that point, the next thing that I did was I undid the emergency brake cables. So pretty simple. There are some spring clips that look like this, and they basically just slide out, and then all you got to do is pull the cable down and out and unlatch it off of the brake caliper. There's one 12mm bolt that holds the cable to one of the suspension arms. So you do that for both sides. Then the next thing you got to do is take the brake calipers off, including the mounting bolt for the brake flex line, which is also a 12mm. So 2 14mm bolts holding the caliper to the anchor. You take those off, take your whole brake caliper off. One 12mm bolt located about here under the strut. You'll take it out, and then I just sort of fished the brake caliper around through all the suspension stuff and out so that I could hang it up onto the shock, and that way it's up and out of the road, so I'm going to get caught up on anything. Once you do that on both sides, you are going to have to unplug your wheel speed sensors. Very simple. One 10mm bolt located here. So I undid it off of here, which I guess I didn't really have to. I could have just left that like that. But unplug it. I washed these connectors out before I unplugged them because they were full of dirt and undercoating, which helped greatly. They just simply unplugged the way they were supposed to. Then you're gonna have to deal with a bunch of the fuel stuff. So moving on to fuel related things, we've got our main fuel line right here, which has some white writing on it. Lots of fuel came out of this one. Then we've got another fuel line. I thought it was maybe evap, but maybe it's a return line or something. It has yellow writing on it. Then we've got this big one here. This goes to the charcoal canister right here, this guy. There's where your fuel lines are gonna be. You can see one's got a white tab, and the other one's got a greenish tab. You just pinch those together and then pull the black line off. You are gonna have to undo this little vent hose here. That plugs into the actual subframe. Down in here, there's a hole. And all it does basically is just vents any vapors, I think, into the inside of the subframe so that you can't really smell them. It's just somewhere for the vapor to go.
Cut the exhaust off.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you gotta take your exhaust off. Now this one's been welded. The flanges have been all welded together front to back, so I couldn't unbolt it, but I did take the Sawzall to it and just chop it off. There's an exhaust hanger located here, 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 and here. Undid all those, dropped the exhaust off of it because that runs underneath of the frame. Once you get that done, undo all those fuel lines. You got one more, I think that's for your emissions. Get that line off of there. Then you got to unplug the fuel tank. So going in through the trunk, you take the carpet out, you'll find there's a little cover in there. 3 Phillips screws, pop those off. Rubber grommet, you push it through the hole, take the cover off. Underneath the plug, you'll see there's gonna be a plug here. It's a gray plug. Push the tab, unplug it. And then we pretty much get to this point where you throw some jack stands underneath of the frame, Make sure that they're sitting somewhere that they're not going to fall over. And then 4 17mm bolts. Oh, I also forgot to mention, there's these plates where the bolts go on. So this will sit underneath like that. 12mm bolts. So each one of these plates has two 12mm bolts. So go around and take all the 12mm bolts out. Then you take the 17mm main bolts out and the frame should come down. And then you just slowly lift the car up a little bit at a time, pry the shocks, make sure they're not getting stuck in there, and make sure everything comes off the way it's supposed to. And that brings us to this point. So you can see here, I'm going to have to transfer this unit here and the main pump assembly here. This is probably for emissions. I'm guessing it's some sort of a vent apparatus, a vent fuel pressure. And there's probably some valving in there too. So we've got all these lines, everything that's sort of on the tank is going to need to get transferred to the new tank. We do have new gaskets and some new bolts, but we'll be using the original fuel pump and vent assembly. This is plastic, but the ring is metal. So if your car is really, really rusty, you might want to buy a new ring. Depending on where you get fuel tank, might come with a ring. And then we're also going to be putting in new clamps for this main fill pipe, because these things, they get really rusty. This one up here just broke off. So 2 new clamps, probably 2-inch clamps. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to get cleaning this up, and then we'll start transferring some stuff. All right, so now we're just transferring everything over. We've got the gas, for the most part, siphoned out of this thing. And I'm just undoing these plastic clips right here. So I'm going to take the lines off. I think my goal here is unplug the lines, take the lines off, take these pieces out, clean up the rings, transfer them, transfer the lines. All the hardware is 8mm bolts. We've taken all those out. We had one clip here we had to undo to take these off. And then just a couple anchoring points here for the lines. This one broke, not a huge deal. So now we're just undoing these lines. So try to get this off. It's gonna spill a bunch of gas, whatever, that's fine. And then that one's off. Push these 2 big black tabs in there. Pull that one off. And then what I'm gonna use is, actually, that's not really gonna matter because they're 2 different sizes. If they were all the same size, you could use like paint pens or a piece of tape or something like that, but try to care. Like that. And then we just gotta clean this thing up a little bit. I don't really care too much about the top side. I just wanna make sure that this in here that might be in the tank is clean, and then also inside of these tubes, there's just a little bit of dirt and debris. I'm gonna get a Q-tip, clean the inside of that, put it in. Bob's your uncle. All right, so just like that. Big one this way, little ones that way. Here's the fuel pump. And somehow we gotta get the fuel pump out. Like that. There's the sock I was talking about. I'm gonna put this in. Very carefully. Then let's see, which way, where do we go here? Like this? Like this? Something like that. Does that need to go in first, or is it just a tight fit? All right, you gotta like put the gasket on the bottom first, pretty much on this one, just because it's so it's tight. So But once we did that, then we're good. And then we just gotta line this up, hopefully. Maybe, something like that. Sits in there good, line up all holes, looking good. Let's get this thing started. All right, we're just putting these screws in now. We did get new screws with this thing, but they are Phillips screws, and nobody likes Phillips screws. So I'm gonna use these 8mm because none of them stripped off, and they're, even though have some surface rust on them, they're 100 times better than those Phillips screws. So. All right, we removed 4 14mm bolts that hold the straps on. Take the straps off and set them to the side. Now we can take the tank out. All right, you can see where it's leaking, right in this corner seam. So every time you'd slow down, hit the brakes on the car, the fuel would slosh forwards, or if it was over half full, and it would just leak down here, so. All right, guys, we got everything all set up. We are just putting the lines back together here, making sure everything's nice and greased up so that we can protect it from rust the best we can. Got the lines on there, the straps are in, everything's transferred over. We're just going to put these other lines on right now, and then I think we're almost ready to go back up. I'm gonna clean this, put new clamps on it. That's pretty much gonna be it. All right, so we got everything on, and now we've just lowered the car down onto the frame. And what I'm doing now is just slowly made sure everything was going where it needed to go as far as the lines. Nothing was getting messed up. And then the first thing I'm going to attach here is just the shocks. So you're going to guide the shocks into the knuckles, start the bolts, and I'm actually just going to not tighten them down yet, but they're in there so that it sort of, you know, the shocks have to go where the shocks have to go. And now what I'm going to do is just double check, make sure my fuel lines aren't going to fold in half on the other side. And we're just going to keep lowering this down until these guide pins that are part of the body go into the holes of the subframe. Then we can get our mounting bolts installed. Is that starting? Yes, it is.
Lucky.
Alright. I'm just gonna go hit those with the impact gun for a quick second. Ready to go up. Now all I got to do is hook up all these fuel lines and evap lines, and then also got the other filler neck and other ports I have to secure as well. I'm going to start all of the 8 12mm bolts that go on all the brackets here where the main mounting bolts are. And then I'm probably going to look up the torque spec for the subframe mounting bolts and go around and tighten all those down, make sure they're good. And we can just do our brakes, e-brake cables, exhaust. All right, so pretty much just torque everything down, fill it up with gas, you should be good to go. If you got any questions, let me know in the comments. Sorry it wasn't full detail in depth, but at least you get a look at some stuff and kind of what you gotta do. And it's really not that bad. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one.